Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our wrestling podcast. So, without further ado, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall, and today's topic: the Raw After Wrestlemania greatest moments.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
I guess, Dave.
And Craig.
Easy, brother.
Easy, brother. Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, Raw After Mania. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Soundcloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Guys, what is Raw After Mania? What are we talking about? We got some great stories today.
I don't even know, Dave. Like, it's not going to be the same
God,
this year.
I just don't even.
It's not even going to be the same this year. Like, it's everybody knows what we're all going through without, getting too hard into this. Like, it's almost looked forward to more than Mania itself for the most part, because the day after Mania is Raw. And usually, I would say since like 2013 and on, it's become its own, like, the crowd has become like a third man, like in the room. Like, the day after Mania is always special because that used to spike ratings back in the day. And, they would kind of hit the reset button. They would sort of conclude a lot of stuff at Mania, start new feuds. And then that Raw the next day would be like the big push to start the new feuds for the summer programs, basically. But there's a lot of cool stuff. After 2013, the crowd just sort of started stealing the show and taking over. And a lot of that has to do with like social media presence and stuff, where people can kind of refine chants and, do things that sort of steals the show. And you can't deny when it's a live broadcast and the crowd starts chanting something, it's like, well, you can't do anything about it, really. So yeah, it's become super special the day after Mania, really special.
Yeah, it's truly the night that the stayovers from WrestleMania from the city, kind of the smartest, most passionate fans that they have in the world, minus the people that are just there for the big stadium show. They stay and get tickets to the Raw after. They can always be counted on. The expectation now each and every year gets bigger and bigger for a bigger return, a bigger start to an angle. They can always be counted on for sing-alongs and chants, and it's always just a hugely, hugely fun night. Coming right off of WrestleMania. It's the beginning. It's almost like the Daytona 500 for NASCAR and the beginning of another like wrestling season. If wrestling did have seasons, they go 24/7, 365. But that Monday after WrestleMania is the beginning of their next season, their season premiere, if you will.
If you will. Hey, does the fucktard that's trying to be quiet have anything to say about it? I saw you jump on. Stop fucking around.
Oh, Cuz jumped on?
I see him on there. Yeah, I see him.
He's probably setting stuff up.
Bitch.
He did jump on, little cocksucker.
Yeah, you see him, right?
Yeah, cocksucker. But anyway, yeah. So this is
Dick Cheese.
This is we've been wanting to talk about this for a while because like I said, the crowd the day after Mania, and Craig explained it very well. They almost become like a force. Like they're part of it now. They will shit on something they don't like at all. No matter if you're trying to push it over as face or push someone as heel, they will shit on them if they don't like them, or they'll cheer a heel so loud to try to tell the company, like, we like this guy or girl, like we want you to push them. Now, It is skewed because it, like Craig said, it's a lot of the hardcores left, and you got to find the happy medium, right, between like the casuals and the hardcore. But there's a lot of really kick-ass moments that have taken place the day after WrestleMania, and I think David will take us through some, huh? You like that?
That's what I said. That
oh God,
oh God.
Every time there's a Raw After Mania, you know, everyone picks their indie darling. They'll cheer for them, and then the next week they're bored and they stop cheering for them. So. Carry on, Dave. Sorry.
Dave just quit.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just go.
Dave just quit the podcast right now.
I can't even fucking...
Dave, I like you. You know, I know you and I disagree on a lot of things, but one thing that we both can agree on is that in inter wrestling commies, they bring everything down a little bit, and you and I also agree that the dirt sheets misinform everyone. But carry on. Go ahead. I like you, Dave.
I can't.
Yeah, you can. Believe in yourself.
I can't deal with this shit. I really can't.
You can believe in yourself.
I got too much fucking horse shit to deal with during the week to deal with your fucking shit cuz right now. I really don't. I don't need it. I mean, do you have anything constructive to say about this fucking situation? Or are you just going to be a dickwad?
Where are we at? What?
Dave, just jump into the first one.
Oh, there we go.
All right, let's talk about where we really feel, at least in our opinion, where Raw After Mania really mattered. Where you're like, wow, that was a big deal. If you thought Mania was a big deal, Raw After Mania becomes just as big, if not bigger. We're talking about March 30th of 1998. We're talking about X-Pac returning to the WWE on Raw in March of 98. What are we talking about? What happened?
This was the perfect example of what Craig said. Like, it's like they hit the refresh button and start like a new season of wrestling. Like, DX was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, and Rick Rude originally. And the group did have a different look to it. You know, they were... What really started the DX group was, you know, Shawn and Triple H really thought that the WWF should go a little more edgier with their product because they were doing a lot of bubblegum shit and all that. But what ended up happening was DX looked a certain way. It was really all centered around Shawn Michaels, right? He was trying to be the brass one. And Triple H started developing his character from Hunter Hearst Helmsley to Triple H. He was trying to figure out a different voice for himself. Chyna helped the group go along. Rude was kind of odd to be a part of it, to be honest. But I mean, like, he was part of the original core. So when Shawn left, which Shawn made it apparent after he would put Austin over at Mania 14, Michaels was a big fucking baby and decided to leave. And he was burnt out and he did a lot of pills and stuff and he had a lot of injuries. So it was, trust me, it was best that Michaels left. And after the whole debacle with Brett in the end of 97, it was just time for him to leave. So when he leaves at Mania, Vince and them wanted to disband Degeneration X. Michaels has gone, it's over, but Triple H legitly did behind the scenes kind of politic and push and be like, no, like, I feel this group can go even bigger than what it was. Like, I can take it to a different place. Let me be the leader. Let me try. If I fail, you can kill it. So he went out there the next night on Raw, the Raw After Mania, and cut a really good promo. And you could tell he was starting to get a little bit, you know, now his voice is all gravelly, Triple H, but back then Triple H talked like this. And it was like hard. You could tell though, that day after Mania, he was starting to get a little bass in his voice. He was trying to figure out his character. And he pretty much said, look, Shawn dropped the ball. He's gone. He left, but I'm not going to turn my back on this group. And I'm sure Shawn was okay with these comments. I'm not saying he felt this way about Shawn, but on the screen, he really wanted to put his character over and be like, I'm grabbing this shit by the horns. This group isn't going anywhere. I want to breathe some new life into it. I'm the leader now. Yeah. I want Chyna to still grow. I want New Age Outlaws to still grow. And now I want to bring back someone from the Clique, which he referenced, you know, the behind the stage group that Shawn used to, you know, be over. It was like the Clique.
Which could have been more real at that moment.
Right, yeah. And so out walks X-Pac, who was in WCW for the whole prior year. He left the WWF as 1-2-3 Kid. He went to the NWO as 6-Pac, the sixth member of the NWO. And it didn't really work out great for him there. He was there for a while and then he got injured and he struggled in and out for about a year. So when he came back here it was a big deal. Someone actually left WCW and went to WWF instead of the fucking other way around, which for the whole 2 years before, that's all it was the ship sinking, people jumping off the ship, going to WCW for bigger paychecks, less work dates, And so here comes X-Pac back, and he gets in there and he's dressed with DX shit, and he gets in there and he cuts a promo and basically shits on Bischoff, shits on Hogan. So again, it's real. You feel it. Like, you're like, oh my God, like they're dead serious. And so it really set the tone. And this was a big moment for me. And I'm not even like an over the top DX fan. And we've all talked about Triple H and Michaels and what we feel about them. And but I just thought it was really nicely done. This is how you make characters. And they use the day after Mania as a really important reset button to restart this group that actually Triple H took it. Michaels kind of wanted it more like just juvenile and gritty, whereas Triple H took it to cartoony. Triple H took it over the top. They rode the tank into the WCW arena after this shortly. They did a lot of shit. They dressed up like the Nation of Domination, had a great feud. And it was just kind of like they went over the top with it. Triple H took it sports entertainment-ish. And I thought it was a really good direction. The day after WrestleMania started this. And I think it was a great moment. I think this is a good subject to talk about. And what do you think, Craig?
I was trying to think back to whether we knew we all received the email newsletters at this point. And Jess, your encyclopedia memory might know this, but these days you get rumors of things happening before it's happening. And it's tough to be spoiled everything. And I'm trying to think if it was only a few days after I think X-Pac was let go from WCW, had a neck injury, I think fired one of them via fax or whatever. And so I'm thinking whether we had any prior knowledge of this happening at all, or this was one of those truly surprising ones, which we had no clue. And I can't even remember.
I don't even know if I knew about it. And if I did, it was just because I looked for it hard. That internet was not massive here in 1998, and it wasn't nothing like now. I mean, not even close. So there was no social media. There was nothing like that. Not even close.
Dot matrix emails of rumors.
If
and news
I did,
and
it was
off
of I don't even remember the wrestling site that I followed. It wasn't even the Observer I followed. It was something different, and I just it was free. I didn't subscribe to anything, but maybe I read about it, or I read that he was let go from WCW, but I didn't know that they were going to repackage him and bring him back like this. So it was a surprise, and that is a good point because it worked really well. Because I'm not saying he was a well-known name, but he wasn't like a megastar X-Pac. He never really was. But to bring him back like this and connect him like that, it was kind of cool because we let Triple H take us on that ride. And then X-Pac comes down there and says, yeah, I agree. They suck over there. I think he said Hulk Hogan, you suck.
Yeah.
And
he took shots.
And so it was really cool. And
shoot a yeah.
So it was a great moment. I think it's a good moment to start off this subject with because it's Craig even said it was.
This is where it started. Raw After Mania. This is kind of the whole subject of it. I don't remember ever really.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a thing, and you're right. And Mania 14 kind of, I think we talked about it on a past episode where Mania 14, there was nothing overly great about it, but it was all the energy of WrestleMania 14 was this energy that would fuel the company for 3 years, and after this, and it was the day after Mania continued it. Like Dave said, it really kind of formed itself here. It became a big deal. I got to watch the day after WrestleMania because now people are starting to return out of nowhere. You would think they would debut him on the biggest stage, WrestleMania, but they didn't. Purposely, they waited until the day after, which was genius because now you have something else to look forward to rather than just the Raw After Mania is just going to be recapping kind of whatever happened at Mania. But no, it's all new stuff now.
Yep. No, exactly right. It's one of those situations where you knew when Mania was coming up, you had to watch it. That was a fact. Sorry, I'm just going through all my horseshit text messages here. The Brooklyn Brawler, bro. All right. Anything to add? Chive Cuz.
Chive Cuz. Don't worry, I'll send the great and powerful Cousin Jones out of here since you're not ready for that, Dave. You gotta do the quote.
I don't think anybody's ready for that. Let's just be clear about it right now.
No one's ready for truth. But you gotta quote Triple H. You look to your family. You look to your blood. You look to the click. And I remember when the music came on and out X-Pac, and I don't know if you remember Jim Ross. Well, you look at that. what the hell is this? Because it was a surprise. Because I think how long was he on Nitro the week before he showed up to?
I don't think it was the week he was off TV for a bit. He got fired like FedEx or Fax or whatever.
Oh, okay, like Stone Cold. Okay, well, yeah, I just distinctly remember that, and I think by that time I was already kind of getting into looking at rumors and shit online, and I was shocked when that happened. And what was it? A few weeks after that when they rode the tank, like you were mentioning? To WCW?
It was really quick after.
Yeah. So, I mean, that to me, as much as I know everyone thinks it's not as eventful when Rick Rude was in it, but I honestly still like the original. But then obviously, once X-Pac came back, and then the New Age Outlaws and that whole group formed, it just took it to new levels. But yeah, I was like genuinely and legitimately surprised when X-Pac came back. That was actually, it was a pretty cool moment to see when he came out. So.
What's he saying, JR?
And when you start an army, when you set out to do what no one else can do, the first thing you do is you look to your blood. You look to your buddies. You look to your friends. You look to the clique.
What?
Yeah!
Well, look who's back. What a coup has been pulled off here, JR! A new day is dawning for DX.
I just have to quote
There you
those.
go. Absolutely. Well, let's fast forward a little bit. We're going to go into April 8th of 2013, actually.
One of my favorites.
And we're going to talk about this is big. I don't think anybody would ever expect somebody to win the World Heavyweight title after WrestleMania. Not even after. We're talking the day after WrestleMania. We're talking about Zig Ziglar, just straight up Zig Ziglar.
This ain't sales. This ain't a sales book right now, but
it's not. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler cashing it in, right? So, Jess, lead us into this moment. Why did this happen? Why did it happen this way?
Oh, we know
in 2013.
Well, you had two championships here, so in a weird way, the title picture was kind of watered down, but they were kind of using the World Heavyweight Championship. They would switch back and forth. They would make the World Heavyweight Championship the most important, or they'd make the WWE most important. But like, it depends on who held it. But they in a way, the World Heavyweight Championship is kind of the way they should have been treating the IC title the whole time, but they didn't. But so I felt like, okay, people started really cheering Dolph a lot, and people were really like getting behind him, and like they really liked his work, and he's a great athlete, and he reminded a lot of people of Shawn Michaels. And they even started building a little stable around him. He had Big E with him at the time. He had AJ Lee. So people were digging Dolph, and they thought it was his time around this time. I don't think the company really realized.
I think a lot of us did. The real diehards did. They thought this was Ziggler's time.
Yeah, and so like he kind of wasn't really in the picture. I want to say that Del Rio defended the title the night before at Mania against Jack Swagger, if I'm not mistaken. And so Dolph Ziggler at this point had won the Money in the Bank match. I don't think he won it the night before at Mania. Did he? I don't think so.
No.
It was
Del Rio was fighting Swagger on Raw, and Del Rio was already playing.
Yeah, and then that was a rematch from Mania the night before, and then so Swagger hurt his knee or whatever, and then Del Rio, pulled through barely, and then he laid there, and you kind of just felt it, and the crowd. When Dolph Ziggler's music hit, it went nuts. Like, this crowd
absolutely erupted.
This was the first year that I thought the crowd became a thing. Yeah, like where it was like they really started like trying to take over the show. We talk about 1998 being the first time that the company decided to use the day after Mania as like a tool. I think the crowd at this point, because like they were chanty all night already leading up to it, and they were super rambunctious. And when this happened, it was like, universally they were screaming like, yes, this is the guy, we wanted this. Yes. He comes out, he cashes in the Money in the Bank. He almost looked like he wasn't going to beat Del Rio, and then he did, and the place went nuts. And his reign only lasted like a month or two. It was fucking bullshit, but it was cool. This moment a lot of people think about when you say give me a moment of the day after WrestleMania. People are like, oh, when Ziggler won. Like, it just was so great, and they should listen to the crowd more, and is all I can say about this moment.
Yes! Finally! cash it in with the finally. He's waiting his time. He's cherry picked this moment. This is it. He's about to have us a new champion. He's ordering it. Doctor's out of the ring. Carpet ref's got caught. Ziggler's cashing in the contract. Ziggler can cash in for a world heavyweight championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Dolph Ziggler is cashing in. It's it. For the world heavyweight championship. Del Rio has no choice. Del Rio has to defend his title right here, right now, on one leg. JBL, I gotta agree with you. This is a brilliant move. They're a part of the show. The referee is doing his job, making sure Del Rio's to his feet. Here we go. Ziggler right to the injured leg. Dolph Ziggler unloading at Del Rio. We're about to have a new champion tonight. It is thunderous inside the Izod Center. Boy, look at this. Dolph Ziggler go. Great. Ziggler assaulting the injured leg of Del Rio. Stay on it, Izod Center. Everyone on their feet except for the show off. How about Del Rio? Another rapid out there. Ziggler's gonna tap. Ziggler's gonna tap. Unbelievable. Ziggler's gonna tap. He doesn't have an arm anyway. The back leg. The back leg. Ziggler with the back leg. Del Rio had it. Del Rio had it. But what a great counter by Ziggler. Del Rio. Oh, watch out. Look at him. Look at him. Six down. Six down. Pummel. Pummel. We got us a new world champion. World champion. Dolph Ziggler.
That was because Del Rio he was playing up the ankle injury. He was laying in the corner, and I remember that was when he was with the what's his name, right? Ricardo. His manager.
He does, yeah.
Was he? Because they were faced together, right? He was faced.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the ref was checking on Del Rio in the corner, and already people like even during the match, we want Ziggler.
Yeah.
And then I just remember them checking on him in the corner. Yeah, as soon as music hit, it popped like crazy. Big E and AJ Mendez were there with them. As soon as he walked in the ring and handed the briefcase to the ref, the crowd got even louder. As soon as they announced it, the crowd got louder. Bell rang, the crowd got louder. Ziggler went in. Del Rio reversed Insecurity, pinned him. The crowd went crazy when he kicked out. Ziggler tried to do a super kick. Del Rio got him an armbar. And then as soon as he started hitting Del Rio's, I remember all this because I watched it so many times when it happened. Because I was a huge fucking Ziggler fan. I still am, but back then I was really like crazy about Ziggler. And I remember him hitting Del Rio's ankle, kind of removing the knee, or Del Rio's knee brace was falling off or whatever. And I remember Ziggler hitting at his knee or shin or whatever. And the crowd went crazy as soon as they saw Del Rio let go of the armbar. And then as soon as Ziggler hit that zigzag in the 1, 2, 3, man, they just got even louder. And then when the ref handed him the belt and he held it up, they got even louder. So that it was insane. It was one of the best, to me, one of my favorite anyways.
It might be the biggest. Moments. I don't know. I mean, I know we're going to talk about more moments, but it might very well be.
Like, talk about giving us what we want and the pop that looking back.
Oh my God!
Research to this, the pop that he got and the smile on your face of like you're like yes, and the fact that he didn't do it right away and he kicked out on that Jesus. 2 count. Like so, they went for another 3 minutes where he worked again on the ankle and finally got him. And the celebration was pure after that.
Didn't allow a squash on it, right? He really had to work to get it still.
That's one of those moments where the arena was shaking too. Yeah. And like even Michael Cole was excellent on commentary. He said, the arena is shaking. I can't even hear. Like it was crazy. It was good.
And I shit my pants. Who knows what could have been? I think he got a concussion on the SmackDown soon after. He didn't have it long after that. Who knows? I mean, that's probably maybe
like,
why.
Look, I know that around that time they started pulling people for concussions, and I don't want to get into a big thing about concussions, but like, if you just wrote better fucking stories. You could, if a champion is out for a couple of weeks while he passes, like
you could have worked that out.
Well, he doesn't have to defend the title, but Vince will do it. Like he's got a
especially
concussion,
as a heel,
take
right?
the title off him.
On this one, to be fair though, once because I think Swagger kicked him or something. And that's where the concussion came from. When they took him out because of that, they realized, and I think he even said they realized he had more concussions that he didn't even know about. Once they started doing all this,
which is fine, all of them would. So if you scan all of them. But my point is like, So you don't have to bail on him, right? Like you could still, I mean, if only there was another reference point I could use where a wrestler got injured and they kept him out of the ring and they played to it and made the crowd want him even more. It's odd. I don't know of anyone I could think of. I mean, it's just right in front of your fucking face.
I almost want to say better than Hogan.
It's the history. No, that's totally false. But it's the history of your own company and they forget about it. Like, I'm not saying like change Ziggler's character, but there's an easy way you can do stuff like that, you know? And obviously now that you're going to start checking for concussions more people are going to get pulled for it. I get it. I totally get it, but you don't got to strip a fucking champion every time. I mean, recently Andrade, he's the US champ. He got suspended for wellness policy violation. But they didn't take the US title on him. And then when they brought him back, you thought, oh, he's going to drop it right away. And he didn't. And I'm like, that's right, because I don't want to know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I want you to be consistent with the storyline that you started telling me. Don't punish me for
that. Was
like, it's ridiculous.
That was the closest thing to you book him to lose every.
Yeah, I used to get really mad like that a lot. But like I guess I've just given up, right? I've just given up. But like, yeah, like I don't want to know behind the scenes. Like back in the day, dicks were everywhere. Dicks were all over the place. People were dicks. That's what they did. I
don't need to know.
Why did Randy Orton's title reign end? Well, he was a dick backstage. I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Cares? Yeah.
I don't fucking care.
Bags. I don't care.
You get him in line backstage and you take care of him backstage because I don't give a shit. I just want you to continue the story that you told me. So Ziggler gets hurt. Well, he's injury prone. Or you can go to your writers and be like, hi, I pay you to write shit. Can you write some shit for him around his concussion? That would be great. See you later. That's what you do.
Do you remember, make them accountable? The Ruthless Aggression tapes that they put on the network where Randy got hurt and he would describe his injury updates every week? Fucking genius in hindsight.
Heaven forbid.
I mean,
I don't care what happens behind the scenes.
My shoulder has gained a 30% increase in movement. Like, they was making shit up, but it was fucking great. Like, just so you know, I'm like, oh my God. Like, and you hated him for it. You hated Randy Orton, but it was perfect. Like that. And that is so bad in writing. Like, don't tell me, like, Dolph already had a whole stable around him. You couldn't have made that work for a period of time while he was injured. I mean, I don't know. It's all hindsight.
No, the answer is yes, they could have, and they just didn't want to.
I mean, did Dolph have the Money in the Bank since that summer? Did he hold that for that long?
Yeah, it was like over a year.
We waited that long for him to cash it in. Yeah. Like
he tried to cash it on Sheamus, Swagger, a bunch of people.
We were fine waiting for it at that time, and like.
And then you give him a big ass moment. Yeah. Now, nobody knew the crowd was going to be that hot. You wouldn't know until it happened. But that moment was booked to be a big deal, no matter what they thought the crowd was going to be. So, like, you put all that investment into him.
Planned.
It's just like when you invest something in it, whether it's a company or inside your company, like a monkier, like this is our war cry for the next year. You know, this is how we're going to, approach sales or whatever. You don't abandon it because you got to ride it out and see if it works. Like, but they just, this is the beginning of the time where they just abandon shit. Like if your last name wasn't Cena, we had no fucking faith in you. And I hate it because it's such a great moment.
What's interesting about the whole thing is that to this day, Dolph is still in, I don't want to say main event, but he's upper mid card, minimum. He's still in the storyline right now. The whole stuff with Mandy.
But I don't take him serious anymore, though. That's the problem. I don't take him serious because the company has gone.
The thing is, like,
they could have rekindled it with the Survivor Series 2014. They could have actually again. Yeah, they could have went with it.
Well, but we're so far beyond that. We're 6 years into that now, and they still have so much stock in Ziggler. Then why did you bail?
But the one thing that they've done a good job of with Ziggler since the moment we're talking about is tell me that he doesn't matter. They've done a great job at that. So now it's like, even though I'm glad he's on TV, sure, I actually don't give a flying fuck about. I don't even care when I see him anymore. I'm like, I just don't believe anymore in him because I'm like, whatever. Like,
you can't take
it's
serious.
Whatever. Like, even
what's the definition of that? Safe? So. Yeah, we're not going to strap the rocket shit to him, but we can always count on him.
It's relying on behind the scenes. He fell in line. He still re-signs his contracts. They let him do his little stand-up shit that he does. Yeah, they do all that stuff. So in their mind, and what they say to him behind the scenes is, you got a stable career, man. Like The Miz. You have a stable career. And so you're fine. You've made it in life. You're working here. We're the biggest company in the world, wrestling wise. And you're here.
Those motherfuckers should be running.
So they would rather tell that story behind the scenes than to your audience in front of the camera who needs to invest in these characters and follow your storylines. They don't give a shit about that. They just want to tell, they want to neuter him and teach him, be thankful that you're here. You can't do this anywhere else, right? Like, you're fine. You,
like, you know, and I don't want to get too far off the subject, but we've all talked about the Miz just cutting just a sick, you know, Raw promo on Daniel Bryan on, you know, SmackDown. Was it SmackDown After Hours, right? Whatever it was. And we knew what the Miz was capable of. We knew it before then, right? But people like Ziggler and the Miz, those guys should be the head of all your stables. The guys that hold the titles for like 80-90% of the time until they finally get beat at WrestleMania. Because this is
and,
let's be
well,
real,
not to harbor on it, but like therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem is like they like it because they've accepted it in backstage. Like to Miz and Ziggler, they understand it. They're like, you know what, this is a good career. I have work stability. I have, you know, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'll do whatever they want. I'll get.
Yeah.
You want to be in the Marine.
When they get
7?
their moment,
okay. Like
you remember what Stone Cold said,
when they get
right?
their moment, they'll take it.
You remember what Stone Cold said?
They'll get their moment, they'll take it.
Just
what did he say?
Just like Stone Cold said, all I see are people that are happy with just being on TV. I mean, he's right when he says that stuff. People are just content with the place they have, and like someone like Ziggler probably already knows. Man, after I'm done, I could either be a producer, or I can be an agent, I can be a coach, and this and that. I mean, I'm sure Ziggler wants more because I mean Ziggler's been there for a long, long fucking time. But then again, maybe since he's been there for a long, long fucking time, maybe he's like, you know what, I'm cool now. I don't care. Not saying that's right, but that's probably what it is.
No, and he has. You have two different type of stars now. You know, the ones that want to wrestle, and then the ones that are just like, this is a stable career. Yeah. How could you want anything more?
I think Dolph has always wanted to explore other avenues too, or find that next kind of step, like his stand-up comedy. He's really tried in every kind of market he goes to. He wants to do comedy shows. He's done them with Foley. And that's no knock on his dedication or his heart. He's he's still a bump machine, and he's always.
But he realizes
great.
where he is.
Yeah,
he realizes what the environment is. Yeah,
and he knows he has a bump card, as they say.
Yeah.
He only gets so many bump cards.
He's not the kind of guy.
Especially his style.
He's not the kind of guy that's just been like, well, fuck this. Right. He's hit this. I feel like he's hit a.
And we're never going to fall for it again. They're never going to give him an extended shot. It seems again. So it's we were just like,
I wouldn't believe it.
It's short lived. Whenever we see
him in the Brock and
happen.
McIntyre match, and he pins Brock. Really funny.
Yeah,
like at Mania, he just runs somehow. It's not Braun Strowman, it's Dolph Ziggler, and he beats Brock.
And
it's Goldberg. Sorry, it's Goldberg.
He does the finger poke of doom to Goldberg.
Oh no.
Fucking great.
Well, speaking of which, speaking of Brock, we're gonna go back to April 2nd of 2012. We're gonna rewind just a little bit.
Good job, Dave.
And here's the whole thing, right? We talked about Mr. Heyman saying, the Lesnar hype, where he really ran the place was only 2 years, and then Lesnar decides, this isn't for me. I'm gonna leave. And I'm gonna join the NFL and see how that works, and that's okay. He almost makes the Minnesota Vikings on their roster, by the way, when he almost never played before, right? So when you think about that, like, holy crap! And then he goes into the UFC and does some serious damage. But then towards the end of it, you're talking about Lesnar returning to the WWE on the 2nd of April of 2012, where, in my opinion, reality and theater cannot cross any more of a segue than right now. Agree, disagree? This is real. Like, Brock beat legitimate people for legitimate UFC titles and comes back to the WWF or WWE at this point. I can't remember where it segued out.
WWE.
This is where, like, holy shit, this is a real badass that really destroyed real people in a real environment, and he's coming back to this. What's going to happen? Right
now that I think about it, because you're mentioning that, it actually, because we talk about when he came back. Well, we'll get to the match, his first match when he came back, or we'll talk briefly on it. But when he was in UFC, when he first went to the UFC, and Jess, you're probably going to know what I'm kind of alluding to now, because you remember his first match back in WWE against the person that we will not name yet. His first match in UFC, actually, he lost. When he showed up, he dominated the fight until Frank Mir. He fought Frank Mir when he first showed up in UFC, he dominated that fight. He looked like a legit badass.
But he caught him.
Yeah, and Frank Mir caught him in a heel hook, tapped him out. And then Brock went on to have a rematch and pummeled him and made him look like Hamburger Hill, his face. And then he like destroyed people. He got diverticulitis and then got beat. But yeah, he like you said, he destroyed Randy Couture, who was, I mean, we can say he was kind of, already Randy Couture should have already retired already. Yeah, but I mean, but Randy Couture also proved that even at that age, he can knock out and destroy the best heavyweights in the world. And Brock went in there inexperienced compared to all of them, beat the shit out of them. He had his run in UFC, and then like just that aura. And I remember throughout the night, people chanting for Brock, and it was like, oh man. Like, you didn't know for sure, but you kind of did. I mean, the rumors were already saying that. Well, at this point,
the rumors, internet was a little bit more prominent here. And so people kind of knew. But when his music hit, but the even more important, though, before this moment, this was the day after WrestleMania 28, which was the first Rock and Cena match. So Cena just lost the night before to like the biggest match of his career. And then they booked him like a total fucking dolt coming out here or whatever going, you know what, guys? You just get back on the horse. And then when Lesnar's music hit, he's like, huh? Yeah. And he fucking stood in there. The place went bonkers for Lesnar. And it was just amazing to see him again. It's almost like this is the best thing for Lesnar, leaving this long. Taught Lesnar to be fond of wrestling. He missed it. But then the aura that he came in with, people are like, well, this guy's fucking a killer. Yeah. Like, he's real.
Yes.
And so when he got in there, fucking Cena was like, put her there, pal. Yeah. And then Lesnar killed him with the F5. I'm like, how more stupid can you book Cena? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it just shows again. Like, I don't want to shit on the writers, but holy Christ, like, he loses to The Rock the night before, looks stupid already doing that. And then the next day he's like, whose music is that? And then Lesnar comes down and he's like, you know what? I don't know anything about you or your past. Put her there. And then blah, and he gets his ass kicked. And I'm just like, oh God, Cena, you're so stupid.
I imagine he did say Cena being dressed in overalls with like a hayseed or like a piece of straw in his mouth with the way Jess is doing an impression of him. He's
a hayseed.
Well, shucks. Who's this?
Oh my golly.
He wanted The Rock to come out.
Why is Cena now become Hillbilly Jim?
I don't know.
In the process?
Like when any good guy, when any face is booked like a, when any face is booked like a straight up jackass, like I just imagine him going, "Oh shucks!" Oh my goodness,
it doesn't work.
I did not see that coming. And how did that happen to me?
He came out to "Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy" too, which is really weird.
And also, Rock, I want you to come out here to put it there.
Oh no!
But like 8 years is a long time, and I didn't realize that he hadn't been in the ring since WrestleMania 20. Like that's a long time, and for him to
he had been gone longer than he was in WWE, and that's crazy.
The legitimacy he came back with, and the monster and the
aura,
man, and he hasn't really slowed down since.
And let me be honest. I know we can't talk forever about it, but Brock Lesnar's fantastic, and like legitly, I mean, like not just he used to be people for real. He really gets wrestling. His character has been the best thing about WWE since his re-debut. Like, and it's because he's in the ring less, because they can hold him back more. You don't see him every week. They can't fuck him up. Which they probably love to. Which is how it should be. They would love to fuck him up, but they can't. The champion
should not be all on air all the time.
He's got a great mouthpiece, but Lesnar even can feed into Paul Heyman. Paul, say something stupid. Like, he knew what he was doing when he did that. I love it. Coming out with the jukebox, like, the little jukebox thing they did. Fucking brilliant. Like, he's just funny.
Like, the bank jukebox?
He gets it. He knows when he's got to be a killer, which is most of the time, but then he's like, I got to endear a little bit. And so he'll do it. And like, it's like, he gets it. He knows exactly what he's doing. Like, he's really in control way more than people think. When people are like, I'm so sick of him. I'm like, no, you're not sick of him. Actually, you'll miss him. Like, he's the
way more than people think.
Yeah.
People are starting to catch on. I mean, when we're talking about the whole buildup with Drew McIntyre, when Drew claymores him, I think for the second time on the floor, and literally Brock looks at him as pick up the belt.
You hear him? Grab the belt.
Pick up the belt, dick face. And Drew's like, oh yeah.
Actually, that's not true.
Okay.
He yelled, grab the belt.
It was Cena. He's like, oh gosh, grab that belt.
But the whole point of that is that people believe that Lesnar doesn't care. He does care about the business. He cares about the story. He really does. And Drew McIntyre, I'm not saying that he doesn't care about the story, but the problem is that Drew has been controlled the entire time through this run, and Brock's like, pick up the belt. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. And it's like, Brock is not controlled and Drew is, and that's the difference of what we're seeing and why we continue to love Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar will literally go into the backstage
and
of
if
the
there's
title
any
and
more,
throw it at Vince,
if there's any
just
more,
for fucking fun.
If there's any more evidence that less is more, it is his character because
Lesnar,
because when he attacked Cena on the moment we're talking about, of course, the next pay-per-view, he faced Cena and Cena beat him.
Yeah.
And like, so first of all, shit booking, just ridiculousness, but less is more.
Matter.
His character was so good, and the way Lesnar and Brock portrayed themselves got his character over even more. And then they fucking gave up because I think Vince is just like, well, fuck, we got to make him a killer. What was I thinking? And then he ended up killing Cena at SummerSlam like a couple years later.
Well, that's why destroyed him in 2014. Yeah,
and then ever since
we were there,
ever since
we were there.
2014, he's been a monster. Which the day that he came back, he should have been booked that way, but they booked Cena to beat him right away, which is dumb.
That's what I meant about him debuting in UFC and losing his first fight. Now that I think about it, I'm like, were they trying to kind of mock that in that he lost his first fight, but then after that, he won like 4 or 5 fights in a row and fucking just demolished people.
I think
so. I'm not
that's
saying,
a really good. I think it's a really good idea, but I think you're giving him way too much credit. No, I mean the WWE. You're giving him way too much credit.
Oh yeah, no, I know it was stupid, but you know. But still. But hold on, because you mentioned the quote of Paul say something stupid. Just because of what he says before that, because that was after Punk and him had a little scuffle on Raw, you know, in the ring or whatever. I think Brock went out and attacked him, or vice versa. And then Renee Young was interviewing them backstage, and because I always remember this, Brock, is that the best of the best of the best of this world has to offer? I'm the beast and the best. Paul, say something stupid. And then Paul, say something stupid. Yeah, let me see.
All right. Well, let's push it forward a little bit. Well, I say we push it forward. We're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go back to 2008. This is a moment, man. I mean, we, you know, everybody wants to fight about the WWF versus WCW personas, the characters, the people involved that made those federations what they were. This is something where, you know, we already know at this point the WCW is long gone. It's been long gone for some time, but yet we still pay homage to an all-time great, and we roll into the retirement of Ric Flair, March 31st, 2008. Jess, paint the picture, please.
I think that it's just so easy. Once WCW got bought, they did such a great job of just being like, it's this thing that was around a long time ago, but it's not around anymore. But like it's kind of, I mean, Flair fucked it up because he went to TNA afterwards and wrestled a couple times here and there and kind of ruined it. But I really wanted him to be done because I think that, God, like, he wrestled way too long. But at the same time,
sorry to interrupt,
still.
Jess, are you saying so? Flair wrestled sorry, I almost can't even say it. Flair wrestled after he retired here, but doesn't he retire?
Yeah, I know. It's unheard of in wrestling because generally when someone leaves like a loser retirement match, they're gone for good. You never see him again. But in this
Macho Man.
In this case,
Terry Funk.
He broke that rule. And
Dusty Rhodes.
Like, it's just amazing, like, to me, just to see it. And I know I'm not trying to mock it because the moment it makes sense. It could have been done on any Raw and been just as impactful, but it was the night after he lost to Michaels. It was the 2 nights after he was put in the Hall of Fame. So it was just kind of like a whole weekend of to see him get to retire and the company put that much money into him and they really believed in him. I mean, 2008, he was done. He'd been long done, Flair, and he still had it in him to put together that final run. It was a cool build up to the whole thing where he, like 2 months before Mania, he's like, the next time I lose, I'll retire. So it was really cool for 2 months all before, like whoever he fought every week, it was just like, if he loses tonight, he said he's done. And he somehow pulled it out.
He pulled it off, right?
Yeah, he escaped by the skin of his teeth or whatever.
And this is where Shawn Michaels in WrestleMania, you can see him word the mouths, I'm sorry, I love you. And gives him sweet shit music, right?
And then he beat him. And so like the next night, it was just...
It's phenomenal.
As a fan, which so many people had forgotten by this point, which I get, WCW was long gone at this point, 7 years removed. And it was not even relevant even 2 years before it went out of business. But like to see Flair get that treatment and retire in a WWF ring or WWE at this time was so crazy for me as somebody who grew up with him, because it was like he was NWA, WCW, and Hogan was WWF. And it was like you liked one or the other, and you liked this type of wrestling or you liked this type of wrestling. And it was just odd to see him finally, which Flair had been entertaining from the beginning. He had an over-the-top character from the start. It's hilarious how he became the rep of good wrestling and hardcore wrestling, whereas Hulk was the silly cartoon character, which Flair's a goddamn walking cartoon. And like, it's just so funny that he actually did retire and with a lot of fanfare in this amazing moment in the WWF of all places. Like it was, as a fan that grew up with him, it wasn't lost on me. Yeah. And I was like, God, like, is he really getting this treatment from them, from the competition? Because that's what they were the whole time. And like, it's awesome to see Flair get that kind of the tribute paid to him. And, they had a bunch of people come in the ring like Steamboat and Undertaker and Arn Anderson, and everybody say goodbye. And Triple H, of course, because he's got to hog everything.
Oh, he goes first, by the way. So
Yeah. And then Vince came down or whatever. And it was great to see, and it's like, it was this moment, like I said, as a fan, I was like, I remember him from the 80s. Like I grew up, he's so not supposed to be here. This is so not the company that should be saying goodbye to him, but it is. And it's amazing that they're doing it for him. So I was glad they did. And he fucked it up because Flair just can't get out of his own way sometimes. But like, it was an amazing moment and it just happened to fall the day after Mania. But at the same time, like it just made it all that more special. Cause like I said, Hall of Fame, losing to Michaels in a good match, a very good match. And then he, retired. It was very poetic.
Last night, I wrestled my very last match at WrestleMania. I will never, ever wrestle in this ring again. Please. I'm not sad about not wrestling. You shouldn't be sad about the fact that you're not going to see me out here. You should rejoice in the fact that I have had the greatest wrestling career.
And if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because it's awesome in a couple of ways. One, I mean, it was interesting to see his family comes out, and so you get to see Charlotte in.
You get to see his future
ex-wife. 2008 future ex-wife.
How old was Charlotte at that time?
She's so young and so different and short hair and announced as Ashley. You get four horsemen and I remember Barry Windham being shocked at how he looked. Steamboat. Most of the locker room get their own entrances, and then the entire locker room comes out, and of course Flair cries 50 times. He's almost crying in the very beginning.
Goddamn,
when he does his
shit. Totally deserved though, right? I mean,
100%. Yeah, I'm not mad. He's an emotional guy, and you kind of love it, and you're crying with him. Like, I don't judge him for it. No, it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. It was special.
No, I'm with you completely. I look at it and I see the really the death of WCW, and I look at Flair at that time, and I know he's in that final match with Sting. He's wrestling with a shirt on, but I knew even then I was like, God, Flair's not done. Like WCW might be dead, but Flair is not, and I knew that from the get. You didn't know what would come of it. And I know we shit on Triple H, but if it wasn't for Triple H, we wouldn't seen a lot of Flair after that. So you got to give him some credit, right? But at the end of the day, seeing that really, you're talking really, what, 10 years later? Like, what? I mean, we're talking 98, 99 when WCW really crumbled for real. And Flair is retiring almost a decade later. That's something else, and I don't think a lot of people really don't understand how big of a moment that is.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see him go. I wish he would have fucking stayed with it, but what are you gonna do?
They don't though. They never do. Terry Funk didn't. God, they all. It's my last match. No, it's not.
Yeah,
we all know it's not. Until you need the meal ticket to feed your family, it's not. But I'll never give Flair shit on that because so many other wrestlers have done it. Macho Man. Oh, I'm out. You gotta retire, brother. No, you didn't. You fucking wrestled.
Piper.
God damn it. Yeah, like fuck you. Everybody did it. Everybody did it. Shit. So I'll never fault Flair for that. I guarantee you, people are like, Flair's like, no, but I'm retired. But like, yeah, but everybody's retired and come back, Flair. Everybody's done it. Funk did it. It's like, all right, well, okay.
Austin's the only one.
That's why I'm
the only person. When I'm done, I'm done. And they've tried. Even Heyman tried to talk him back into it. If I don't see him ever doing.
He's
it,
not.
He doesn't
at this point, no.
Austin, let me propose to you facing one Brock.
Let me.
Can I do Canadian destroyers into the table?
Yeah. Can I do Hurricane Rondas? No.
Can I do some acai moonsaults? Some suicida punches?
You can just to upset Cuz, you could argue that Austin has come back numerous times because he's given his finisher to so many fucking people after he's retired.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a match, does it?
No, I mean, he can keep doing that shit. I mean, shit, he's in fucking great shape.
So it's different? I don't know why I said it.
I think it is, actually.
What?
Because he could easily come back and have a match and then it be really shitty and him not be the same, and then there you go. He left on a great note. You already know that. Come on.
Well, as usual, you totally missed the point. So hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree, and you can join us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Go ahead, cuz get the last fucking comment.
No, it's just
Oh God, you can't handle it. All right, that's Dave, Jess, Cuz, and Craig coming on with the O.W.P. Have a good one.